Welcome back, bitches!
Welcome back to
Phaggots.
the Fact Pack Podcast. Woo! Today, we have another wonderful, entertaining episode for you. This episode is about mental health. Not only how it affects us, because these first few episodes are going to be introducing us, basically, and then talking about the stuff that comes with it. It's about mental health. We're also going to discuss medicine. I'd like to talk about medicine, like for mental health and self-diagnosing and things like that. But first and foremost, we're going to start with what we personally feel and what affects us. We have a list of things we'd like to talk about, just like we did with the LGBT episode. So go ahead.
You guys can start, because you guys have more to say. Anyway.
Sydney, would you like to start?
No.
Okay, I'll start. So I have diagnosed depression and anxiety. Now there are some causes that I feel. This episode is going to be kind of sad, probably.
And
I know, that's what I was just thinking.
The purpose of it,
get emotional.
So
and that's
be prepared
okay.
for that.
I think that I want the purpose of this episode is for it to be to like reach out to other people.
Yeah.
Because it's even though like you know you're not alone, it's hard to like
Talk about.
think about.
And that's okay. Again, if you are watching this and you think of something to say to us and you want to say it, comment it. We'll respond.
Comment, and if you don't want to comment, email us.
Yeah, you can email us too. And like we said last time, we will show your comment if you want. We will hide your name or blast your name, whichever you prefer. So back to your regularly scheduled content. So I have depression and anxiety. I have general anxiety disorder, but I also kind of have social anxiety. Now there are some causes for me. I've always had anxiety, even when I was little. I just didn't know what it was then. Like when I was really small, I was afraid of the bathrooms. I pissed my pants until like kindergarten was over because I was so scared of going to the bathroom and worried about the fire alarm going off while I was in there, like it did once. It happened once. So that's just an example of like how I've always experienced anxiety. But the depression came later, and it kind of started from like the last episode was LGBT. Kind of started from there, like 13, 12, around there. I mean, I probably had it earlier than that, but like noticeable there. So I kind of want to talk about suicidal thoughts and stuff, but I'll save that for. I'll save
maybe
that for later.
we can put the trigger warning, I guess, if you aren't, comfortable with listening to that kind of stuff. This
episode's gonna get hard. So
I'm gonna put that in the description also.
Yeah, this episode's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for us too. So I'm gonna start with why self-diagnosis is dangerous, but also important. Let's start with dangerous first. I don't think that you can self-diagnose yourself. Now you can suspect, and you might even have something, but there are people out there who think they have everything, and you can have things that you think you have, but it's better to have them diagnosed. Like especially like bipolar disorder, a lot of you can have it when you're a teenager, but it's more likely that you don't. And it's good to go to a therapist and have it diagnosed than to say I have bipolar disorder. And when you self-diagnose, you don't actually have a diagnosis. So if you want special accommodations, you can't have them because you're not actually diagnosed with anything. But it's also important to have, because if you don't think you have anything and you do have something, you can't get it fixed. It's better to acknowledge that there's something there than to ignore it and pretend you don't have anything. You guys have anything to add to that?
I think self-diagnosis, maybe not like seriously, like just self-diagnosing and then not actually getting professionally diagnosed. I think you should learn about yourself and see if you can put a name to it. So, like, when going to a professional, you know what to say. And
Yeah,
they can
that's
understand
true.
you. I mean, I'm not speaking on experience, just speaking on, like, what makes sense to me.
Like, I remember when I first started therapy, the very first day, I was given, like, a little questionnaire. Like, you can take all of them on the internet, but until a therapist goes through the list with you and tells you what everything means, it just isn't the same as being diagnosed by yourself.
You can't be diagnosed with anything without meeting all the symptoms in the DSM-5
Or 4.
or 4. Probably the 5,
Yeah.
mostly, because that's the latest edition.
Yeah, a lot of the pages haven't changed, but some of them have, and some of them have been added and
A lot
taken
of
away,
sexual disorders have been added to the DSM-5.
So you can't be diagnosed with anything unless you meet them. And if you don't meet, that would be a good way to quote-unquote self-diagnose. Look at the DSM pages. You can Google them and look through them.
Yeah, there's a PDF online.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have it, because the only way to have it is if you go to a professional and get diagnosed with it. But if you meet some of the requirements, it's likely.
You can bring it to your therapist if you meet some of the requirements, and
To ask.
she can go through it with you, or he.
They will go with it with you. Therapy is great, but here's why it might not work for you at first. I find that a lot of people, when they say they don't like their therapist, it's because you're getting help. You don't want to change. You are so used to the way you were, you feel like any sort of change is bad, and what they're saying to you is going to affect you, and it'll change your life, and you don't like the change, and it's making you feel different, and you're talking about what you have and what you feel. You'll cry in front of the therapist, you'll get mad at them, and that is just what you feel personally. And your therapist is listening and seeing that you're mad at them, and they're taking that into consideration as to what is happening in your mental state. Like, when I first started going to our therapist, I wasn't really comfortable with her. I was fine at the end there, but, like, in the beginning it was hard to get into it. But eventually, I did get into it. And I always recommend therapy, because therapy is so much better than
Killing yourself.
That's true.
Or harming yourself, or...
Yeah, it's so much better than just not doing anything to
And
help
bottling
yourself.
up your feelings, that's not good.
Yeah,
You
it
have
makes
to
it
talk
worse.
out with someone.
It makes it worse.
It makes it worse. So, do you have anything to add? Want to start your list now? We'll move on to my list later. It's kind of...
I've noticed that, especially in Florida, I've seen that it is ranked. It is second to worst when it comes to mental health.
Yes.
The way we handle it with Baker acting, I think that definitely needs to be revised. Because when you do get Baker acted, which for those who don't know, it's like if you plan to harm yourself or others, or if you're like deemed not mentally fit or stable, they will take you in. I'm not really sure where.
To like a mental facility.
Yeah. But it stays on your record forever. They essentially treat you like a criminal, which is super fucked up. And I think that needs to be fixed. But a lot of people still are ignorant to the fact that mental health is just as important as physical health, because it is your brain, your most important organ. And if there's something wrong with it, then that's important.
Yeah, because depression clouds your thoughts. You can't think straight. Anxiety, you can't.
You
What?
can't think straight.
I literally can't. I'm gay.
It's like, okay, sorry. Keep going.
Anxiety, you can't talk to people.
No.
Shit like that. It's very important.
Yeah, anxiety kind of made this episode hard to make.
Yeah.
It takes away or makes it hard to express humanly emotions, I guess.
And then there's things like, ADHD, and that one is...
And then you can't do your schoolwork if you have ADHD. You can't think straight.
Yeah. I never got the chance to get that diagnosed.
You have it. You
I-
so fucking have
I'm
it.
pretty sure I do. I was looking at the DSM last night at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
That's why I brought it up, because I feel like I can't, because I never got the chance to get it diagnosed. I can't say I have ADHD, but I can speculate that I have ADHD because that's kind of, see, I lost it.
You lose your train of thought,
Yeah.
like she has just done.
Yes,
Um,
like that. But I was looking at the page last night at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I find that when you look at the page, you see how many of each symptom you need to have, and you can check off yourself. It's kind of like taking a quiz, but a mental quiz. It's kind of great. But yeah, so I think I have it, but I don't know for sure, and I won't until I can afford therapy again. So that's another thing about self-diagnosis. Like, you can't self-diagnose yourself, but you can think certain ways and believe certain things. It's just, yeah, you never know for sure until you get it diagnosed. And that's why you need therapy. I always recommend therapy to people. Because you can tell your friends about things, but it'll never be the same as going to a professional and talking it out. So, what's next? You want to talk about self-soothing / self-help? Miss Bouncy Leg? I can't be the only one talking this episode. You all gotta add something to it.
Recently I was diagnosed with Asperger's.
Hi, Anne.
Asperger.
Asperger.
I love Asperger.
I got
No
Asperger.
offense, I'm sorry.
No, it's
Got
okay.
Asperger's, I love you.
I had to Google like symptoms of it just now. You can experience aggression, compulsive behavior, fidgeting, impulsiveness, repetitive movements, social isolation, repetition of words and actions, and your mood. You tend to be very anxious and depressed, which is why my Asperger's went undiagnosed for so long. Everyone thought I just had depression, anxiety, and ADHD, when in fact I just had Asperger's. It says here that people with this condition may be socially awkward and have an all-absorbing interest in specific topics. Like when I was younger, I was obsessed with like dinosaurs and shit. And repetitive movements, I used to like you said, I used to like flap my arms
I used
too.
to do that too, and it was, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I do that now.
I fucking hated it. It was like my biggest insecurity, and I couldn't do anything about it because you can't stop it.
Yeah, it makes you feel better.
And it didn't really make me feel better. I was just doing a thing I do subconsciously. Other students in school were noticing it. My teachers were talking to my parents about it. So they thought I had a problem. I was getting made fun of it by my own parents. It was just super awesome.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but stimming is not. I also brought the question to my therapist, and she said no to me. I was kind of sad about that because, woof.
Explain why you were sad about that.
I feel like it would have explained a lot, and because it didn't, I'm still in the dark about it all.
Anxiety and depression, though, I know they're not like big, they don't seem like big things, you know what I mean? But they so much like encompasses anxiety and depression. It's like more than you know. It's
I know.
Because it affects
it's intense.
pretty much all walks of life. Everything you do is
Yeah.
affected by that.
Yeah, I know. But anyways, but I want to talk about like stimming and self-soothing like more, because that's kind of important to more than just autism. It's like I use it for my anxiety. People use it for different aspects.
Explain what stimming is to them.
Stimming, what we just talked about, like hand flapping, and I'm rocking right now, literally as we speak,
Jiggling my leg.
and your leg is bouncing, and like that's just some of many like stimming, like is what you use to self-soothe, like calm yourself down. If you're having like a panic attack, you will rock and curl up into a ball, or shake your arms, or nod your head, or things like that. Me, I nod sometimes. I picked that up a couple like months ago. But I've always bounced my leg, and everybody bounces their leg. That's like a thing you do when you're bored. But you know, it's a stimming behavior to help yourself focus and things like that. Gritting your teeth.
Like, I'll twist around my pencil, and sometimes I'll do it so, like, viciously that I throw it across the room, and I get embarrassed. But
Rubbing your eyes is one, I think.
Yeah.
And I thought of that because I was doing it, but it's not. Yeah, but there are so many, and not only that, but, like, smells and sounds. If you smell, like me, I have pretty heightened senses a lot. I have a lot of, sensory overload problems sometimes.
Yes. That happens a lot with Asperger's, too.
I know. But like smells, sometimes I'll find a smell that I like, and I will like focus in on that and completely forget what I was doing. Especially in like cars. I don't know, it's weird. Like or buildings that smell nice to me, like I'll be focused on the smell and get distracted. Things like that. That could be ADHD, I don't even know. But things like that. So stimming is just what people do. And especially autistic people, they do that a lot. But they're more repetitive with it. Like, really repetitive, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. This episode is clearly not as planned out as that one was.
do you want to talk about medicine?
Sure, let's talk about medicine. Sydney, why don't you go first?
Goddamn. Okay. I've been on so many fucking medications, it's ridiculous.
I've only been on one.
I've been on Prozac, like, literally any antidepressant you can name besides Lexapro.
I've been on Lexapro.
And Zoloft. I haven't been on Zoloft. But, none of them have worked for me except for one called Paxil and another called Vraylar. Vraylar's for people with bipolar disorder, but the
also
person
be used for personality disorder.
Yeah. The person who prescribed it to me, he had to put that I had bipolar disorder. Don't. Should I not have said that? So that he could give it to me because it does help with depression.
Yeah, I take Lexapro because I'm a noob. It was the first medicine I ever started taking. I'm only on 5 milligrams, which is half a dose. But next time I see the doctor that we both go to, I will probably go to 10 milligrams. And he also wants to prescribe me maybe something that is, like, immediate for, like, I have a...
Like calming?
Yeah. Like, I have a test tomorrow. I can take it tonight and have it be effective for tomorrow.
Oh, interesting.
And, like, I have a speech tomorrow. I can take it and calm down, things like that. Because when I do speeches and stuff, I will do the entire speech and then immediately walk away from the podium and forget what I just said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One time before I was on medication in middle school, I had to get up and give a speech, and, like, on the way there, like, I almost fell over. Like, I was, like, freaking out.
Yeah. I hate, like, this past school year, going to school was just me thinking about it, I'm sitting here, like, have this feeling in my stomach. I really don't want to go back. I'm sweating, like, and just my heart's racing just thinking about going back to school.
Yeah.
And school, it stressed me out so much. Even, like, because everyone's, think everyone's watching me, but I feel like everyone's watching me.
Exactly.
My every movement. My teachers would always put me by, like, in the seat closest to the door, all my fucking classes, and I hated that, and so you never freaking move me. So I always had to get up and go open the door, and I was aware of, like, my every movement, how I looked when the person gets in the door, and I hated that. I hate getting up in the classroom because then everyone watches you.
I don't understand how people can get up and, like, blow their nose in class.
I know.
Oh
I know.
my
I have no idea how
blowing
to
your
do that.
nose. Oh, I will sit there and be aware of every sniffle, but I will not get up and blow my
me
nose.
too.
This is gross, but if I sweat like a bitch.
Yeah, me
So
too. Don't worry.
I have sweat in my chair when I get up at school, and I hate it so much.
But crack sweat, I have that too.
Yeah.
I think everybody has that.
It's like a serious issue.
That's part of panic attacks. You can.
Yeah,
that's literally just a panic attack.
all the
Yeah.
time.
So I have one
You
for 8 hours a
probably-
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
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 possible.
exactly how I am. That's why I have to take 6 milligrams of Klonopin.
Yeah.
And me, personally, I don't have panic attacks, which is why I thought I didn't have anxiety before I went to the doctor. Because I don't get panic attacks very often. I've had, like, 6 in my lifetime. But for me, it's just constant worry that doesn't equate to a panic attack.
And when I'm anxious, my stomach will go crazy. I have, like, it'll make sounds and shit. I remember from midterms, my stomach was so loud, and people were noticing it because it was so loud, and it just wouldn't stop because I was so anxious.
And that makes you more anxious.
Yeah, and I just want to die. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
People
And I
have
wish I
social
could just, like,
anxiety.
Yeah.
sit in my chair and do my work and not think about anyone else. And then when the teacher calls on you, oh my god. And then if I don't talk for a long time, like, I kind of lose my voice. So if I'm silent in class and they call up on me and I sound like a 12-year-old boy going through puberty and everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, I hate that. And
Not only that, and if I don't know anybody in a class, I will sit there all year and never say a word.
even if I know
Yeah.
people, it still makes me feel just as anxious if I was in
Yeah.
a room full of strangers.
But I mean, like, know people as in, like, unless it's my best friend, I won't say anything.
Yeah.
So. And my best friend left, so I'm gonna be quiet this year. Yay. So, yeah, I'm on Lexapro. I might not stay on Lexapro forever. It's not a great medicine. I mean, it helped me a lot, but
Things can help you more.
yeah, it's just a starter med, basically. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about suicide next? That's a heavy hitter, so
Trigger
Oh, shit.
warning.
let's put a trigger warning here. I don't know how long we'll be talking about it, but we will be talking about it. So, if you want to click off now or power through
Subscribe
it.
before you go.
Yeah.
And like the video.
Thank you for getting
Like
this
our
far.
video, subscribe, comment down below.
Actually, just mute the video. We need that watch time.
Yeah,
You know what I
that'd
mean?
be
Real,
great.
though. Thanks,
Yeah.
babe.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So, trigger warning. We're about to talk about suicide.
It is not the answer.
That
It
first
is
and
not the
foremost,
answer.
it is not the answer. No.
Speak the fuck up. That is what I wrote down. You.
Before you go, by the way, this is what you need to listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, yucky. It's bad.
Your brain will trick you into thinking that it is the answer, but it's not.
It's not.
It doesn't really. It may
Solve
seem like
anything.
it's gonna solve. Yeah, it doesn't solve anything. In fact, it only makes it
It creates
worse.
more problems.
for your
Others.
family and stuff, and people who knew you who are gonna feel like they're guilty.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is when someone dies, and you want to blame yourself.
I don't want to like say this. I don't want to be rude, but it's kind of selfish in a way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's kind of harsh to say.
And that's
Yeah.
why none of
But-
us have done it, and
yeah.
we're all still here.
Yes.
Because I have come very close to attempting, but I've never done it. And partly the reason why I'm not like self-harming and trying to commit suicide is because of my anxiety. I have had blades pressed against my skin before, but I've never been able to do it because I get so nervous. Which is kind of a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I've bit myself before, and I've taken scissors and made, like, bumps, but I've never cut the skin, so I'm just too afraid to.
I've cut myself before. Not like in emo way. No offense to watchers.
They need to get used to it, because it's about to get a lot worse from here.
I have cut myself before, and I don't, like, see the appeal, and I don't understand how...
Just from, like, a curiosity standpoint? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I've tried.
And I did it with a soda can.
I did it with a pair of blunt scissors, and just kind of made swollen bumps that went away in, like, 2 minutes. But yeah, I was really pissed off, and I was like, I'm gonna see if this helps. It didn't, so.
Yeah.
I've never, like, cut myself, but if I'm really angry sometimes, I will, like, punch a wall and, like, leave a bruise or something because I feel like I deserve it. Or, like, that's kind of dark.
Oh,
but
you have a lot of issues. You should probably
You-
go to a therapist.
I know you don't want to, like, cause more problems for your parents, but...
But leaving it unchecked is causing problems enough.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fine.
No, you're not.
No.
You should.
I'm just anxious. That's it.
You should.
No.
No, you should. This goes for everybody out there. If you have problems, you're causing more problems.
By not seeking help.
It will be difficult to get help, but it is more difficult to not get help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You can work around times and get appointments set for, like, anything you need. It will be possible, and it is better to get help, even if it's hard, than it is to not get help, because it sucks.
Anyway.
So, yeah, suicide. But another thing is, I have, like, thought about suicide as a depressed person, but all of the ways I've tried to come up with for painless deaths, it's not going to be painless. It's going to hurt. I'm going to publish it and do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not going to change anything, and it's not going to help you. So, yeah. Not worth it. Try something else. Try going to therapy. Try going to self-stimming. Try not self-harming, but doing something that'll get the anger out that is not harmful. Or even harmful, but in a way that doesn't long-term affect you. Like, I don't know. You shouldn't cut yourself, but if it's going to help, it's better than dying. That's how I feel, because you should never cut yourself. But if you're already cutting yourself and you're risking suicide, do something other than suicide. Stop it. Whatever way necessary. Do not die.
Because it doesn't really fix anything.
No. I don't really know what you can do to stop both. Really, I never really could figure out what to do instead. But you should never, like, I heard the rubber band technique. That would work. Stick a rubber band on your arm and fling it. Things like that. But don't kill yourself. That's just not gonna help you. Anyways, I feel like it's just a thing that happens, and you should never attempt it because it sucks. Like, I've threatened to drink acetone before just to end it all, but I've never.
And I threatened a bake reactor for it.
Yeah, and I stopped talking to them for a week. Don't joke about it, by the way. I wasn't actually gonna do it then. I thought about it.
I was so pissed, though. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not sorry. The fuck?
I was just kidding. But anyways, don't joke about suicide with your friends, guys, because they might be better off than you and, like, ruin your life for it. Anyways, yeah. Doing it also ruins your life, because if you survive it, it makes it worse. So don't even bother trying. I'm being very blunt because that's how I feel. If you don't like how I feel, I'm sorry.
It's gonna
Comment in
get
the comments.
worse. Like, more opinionated as these episodes go on, so get used to it, bitch!
Yes! Beach.
Beach.
Anyways, anything else? I think we've had our hour. How long has it been?
It's been like 30 minutes.
Shit.
But that's okay.
We can end this one early.
Yeah. Alright, bitches. Tell us your stories.
Tell us your stories.
Tell us your suicide stories.
Well,
I'm kidding. Don't do that.
tell us.
Tell us your suicide stories. How did you die?
Because, we are open to talk to if you.
We could always make a part 2 talking about what you've gone through as well.
Yeah, and just comment, or if you want to be anonymous to other people, just email us.
Yeah. And
Or reach to us on our social media. We have a Twitter now at PHAGPACK at FagPack. Follow it right now.
Or, so what I like to tell you is, if you want to be anonymous, tell us you want to be anonymous, and we'll keep you anonymous. And if you want to be blasted, tell us you want to be blasted, and we'll blast your at or whatever you want. Tell us your name, whatever you want from us. We will respect that opinion. We will even share hate comments. So, yeah, that's it, guys, for this crappy episode.
Thank you for listening. This one wasn't as well planned out because it was just an idea. All of these are just ideas, and
So we'll have better episodes from here. This one was terrible, but
If you have anything you guys want us to talk about, feel free to let us know.
we'll talk.
Yeah.
Because we're only 3 people.
We'll
Yeah.
quote
Have
you
small
or whatever
brains.
you want. Small brain. But
Brain.
anyways,
Thank
you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, are listening.
I love you.
Listening.
And staring at the beautiful thumbnail that I made. I'm going to make.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Leave a rate. Leave a like.
Rate. What is it? 2006.
Yes.
Yeah. Leave a rate.
Like recording me. That's amazing.
Like, comment, subscribe. Bye. Thanks. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye, faggots.
Bye, nags.